17 years after a fire destroyed her family's legacy and branded an innocent man a criminal, Leona discovers the truth was buried by the very people who raised her. Now, as the woman they tried to erase, she must uncover a legacy built on betrayal and expose the one person she trusted most. But in a world where love is a weapon and bloodlines are bought, Leona's greatest danger isn't what's hidden in the past, it's what's coming next. My name is Leona Keller, and everything you're about to read began with a handwritten letter. It was left without a return address, sealed in a pale blue envelope, with my name written in a hand I hadn't seen in 17 years. It arrived on the morning of my engagement party, while my mother was obsessing over the guest list and my fiancé was busy charming his board members. I stood alone in the upstairs hallway of our estate, reading the words that shattered everything I believed about my past. I didn't hear the music downstairs, didn't register the sound of heels on marble. All I saw were the 5 sentences scrawled across the page. Leona, you don't remember the fire, but it remembers you. Your father's death wasn't an accident. If you want the truth, meet me. Midnight, room 214, Halewood Inn. There was no name, just a memory of flames I'd buried so deep they felt like fiction. I should have ignored it. Should have told Andrew, the man I was about to marry. Should have gone back downstairs and toasted with champagne like the rest of them. But something in my chest had begun to twist and tighten, and I couldn't breathe through the lie anymore. I left without a word. The Halewood Inn was 30 miles from our estate, hidden on the edge of the forest, a place I hadn't seen since I was 8 years old, the night our family's summer house burned to the ground. The night they said my father died trying to save me, only I never remembered the flames, only the scream. One loud scream that wasn't mine. Then silence. Then waking up in a hospital bed with no memory of what happened before the fire started. Room 214 was at the far end of the 2nd floor. The hallway was dim, carpet worn, the kind of place time forgets. I pushed open the door. He was already there. Tall, lean, gray hoodie, face half in shadow. But when he turned, the light caught his jawline, and my knees went weak. Alec, I whispered. He didn't smile, just looked at me the way someone looks at a photograph they weren't supposed to see again. I knew you'd come, he said. The last time I saw Alec Gray, he was being taken away in handcuffs. He'd been my father's intern. A few years older than me. Genius level smart, poor as hell, but loyal to my father like a son. Until the night of the fire, when someone found his fingerprints on a canister of gasoline outside the house. My mother swore he was the one who started it. The police believed her, and now he stood in front of me, alive and unapologetic. 17 years later. I didn't kill him, Alex said, but someone wanted you to believe I did. I should have walked away, should have slapped him or screamed. But I didn't, because the look in his eyes was the same one I saw in the mirror every morning, someone trapped in a story they didn't write. You left me a letter, I said. There wasn't time for more. I stepped into the room, shut the door. Tell me everything. He sat down, arms folded, voice low. Your father was onto something that involved the company. A file went missing 3 days before the fire. A project he never spoke about publicly, only to me. Then he called me, said he had proof someone on the board was stealing large-scale embezzlement. He wanted to go to the authorities. That night, he told me to meet him at the summer house. I got there. It was already burning. Why didn't you say this at trial? He looked at me like I was still a child. Your mother ran the narrative. You were a minor. They kept you out of court. I didn't have the money to fight her lawyers. I sank into the chair across from him. Why now? Because someone's trying to kill me, he said. And I think they're coming for you too. I stared at him. Who? He handed me a flash drive. Start with this. There's video. Your father's voice. Records. Bank movements. I traced the money. Why give it to me? Because I loved your father, and I never stopped loving you. My breath caught. That was the first lie I'd ever told in my life, that I'd stopped loving him when they said he was guilty. The truth was more complicated. The truth was I had mourned him more than I had mourned my father. I took the flash drive. Do not open that on your home computer, he warned. And don't trust anyone in that house. When I didn't respond, he stood. I'll find you. Again. Soon. Then he walked out. I returned home at a.m., heart pounding, hands shaking, unsure what I'd just stepped into. The party had ended. Everyone had gone. The help was cleaning silverware. My mother was in her robe, standing at the top of the staircase like she had never gone to bed. She looked at me, face like stone. "Where were you?" she asked. I smiled. "Just needed air." "You left your own engagement party." "It's not till Saturday." "The planning, the speeches, do you know how that made us look?" I moved past her. "Do you know how many people fake smiles in this house?" Her voice dropped. "Don't test me, Leona. We are not that kind of family." I didn't turn around. "What kind are we?" I shut my bedroom door, locked it, and curled up on the floor, clutching the flash drive like a lifeline. At sunrise, I took my laptop to the old greenhouse behind the stables far from the estates. Wi-Fi, from my mother's surveillance, from Andrew's questions. It took 5 minutes for the video to load. The screen flickered. Then came my father's voice. "If you're hearing this, it means I didn't make it." He sounded calm, tired, like he knew something terrible was coming. "There is a cover-up, massive, years in the making. Someone on my board is falsifying reports to divert funds into shell companies. I've traced 3 accounts. All lead back to a name I trusted. I'm not saying it here. It's written in my journal. Leona, if you find this, trust Alec. He's the only one who knows what I was doing." The screen went black. I didn't cry, didn't scream, just stared at the words on screen. There was no journal in my father's possessions, because someone had taken it. And I was going to find out who. The day after I watched the video, everything felt different. The estate wasn't just a home anymore, it was a trap. Every hallway a memory, every shadow a secret, every smile a potential lie. I couldn't unhear my father's voice. Couldn't stop replaying the moment Alec had handed me the flash drive and said they were coming for me, but I kept pretending. At breakfast, I wore a silk blouse and a perfect smile while Andrew talked about our honeymoon options. Santorini, Amalfi, Kyoto. My mother pretended she wasn't watching me chew. I said, "Let's do Japan." Andrew raised his glass. "To love, loyalty, and legacy." Legacy. That was the word that made my blood run cold. That was the word my father used in his final journal, according to Alec. And the journal had vanished. I excused myself, kissed Andrew's cheek, and walked into my father's old study. It had been locked for years. My mother said she kept it sealed to preserve his memory. But that morning, I found the key behind the 3rd shelf of his library, right where I remembered him hiding things when I was little. The study smelled like cedar and ink. Dust danced in the slats of morning light. I searched everywhere. Nothing behind the books. Nothing in the drawers. Nothing under the desk. But then I saw the family portrait. The one taken 3 weeks before the fire. My father, me, and my mother, her. Eyes hard even then. The frame was heavier than it should have been. I opened it. Inside was a thin false lining. And beneath it, a single index card. On it, in my father's handwriting, "If I go missing, find the ledger at Halworth Vault. Locker number 98. Code 92175. Halworth Vault was a private security storage near the river, used by the city's wealthiest for heirlooms and contracts. I didn't even know my father had a box there. I slipped the card into my bra, shut the study, and walked straight past the catering team prepping the engagement rehearsal, straight out to the car. 30 minutes later, I stood in front of the Halworth receptionist, who looked at me like I didn't belong. "Locker 98, I said. "My name's Leona Keller." She raised an eyebrow but took the card. The vault was underground, rows of locked steel boxes lining the walls. The clerk left me alone. I punched in the code. The door opened. Inside was a single leather-bound journal and a small velvet pouch. I pulled them both out, hard hammering. The pouch held a locket, my father's initials engraved on the back. The journal was the real secret. The first page read, "If you're reading this, I'm dead. But I promise you this, what they did to me, they won't get away with." He detailed everything. The shell companies, the money laundered through real estate deals, the fake invoices created under the family foundation's name, and the final entry, dated one day before the fire. I found the final link. It's not Alec. He was framed. It's someone inside the family. That's when I heard the sound. Footsteps. Behind me. I turned just as the steel door shut with a slam. The lights flickered. Then everything went black. I wasn't alone. A voice came from the corner. You should have left it buried, Leona. I spun. Hard in my throat. Then came a flash of light. A phone screen. My mother. She stepped into view like she was strolling through a gallery. You always were too much like him, she said. My mouth was dry. What are you doing here? I told you before, we're not that kind of family. We don't betray blood. You betrayed him. She stepped closer. Your father was weak. He wanted to expose people he'd built careers for. He forgot what it cost to build an empire. My grip tightened around the journal. You set the fire. I made sure the fire finished what it was meant to. He wanted to give you everything. Leave the company to you. I couldn't let that happen. The coldness in her voice was like metal. She reached into her coat pocket and pulled out something black. A stun gun. You've seen too much, she whispered, but before she could raise her hand, a crash rang out behind her. The door burst open. Alec. He tackled her to the floor. The stun gun clattered across the ground. She screamed, kicked, but Alec had her pinned. Run! He shouted at me. Take the journal, go. I ran. I didn't stop until I reached a car. Drove back to the estate with the pouch, the journal, and the last shreds of my trust gone. Alex showed up 2 hours later. A small cut on his forehead, but alive. She called someone on the inside, he said. They let her in, but I followed. I placed the journal on the table between us. It's all here. Names, numbers, transactions. She was behind it all, he nodded. Now we need to make it public. How? If we go to the police, they'll bury it. She has half the force on payroll. Alec opened his laptop. We don't need the police. We need the press. Someone who won't sell out. Someone who's been waiting for this story. He had a name. Daria Monroe. Investigative journalist. Fired 3 years ago for getting too close to a banking scandal. Now she ran an independent site. We emailed her that night. She responded in 15 minutes. Meet me tomorrow at East Side Library. Bring everything. But morning never came the way we expected. At 3:40 a.m., the alarms went off. Security rushed to our wing. There had been a break-in. My room had been torn apart. The flash drive was gone. Not the journal, not the pouch, just the flash drive. They knew exactly what to take, Alex said. I nodded. They want to stop the video, but they hadn't. Stop the plan. At 11 sharp. We met Daria at the library. She read the journal, eyes widening, hand over her mouth. This is enough to blow open the foundation. The company, the board, your mother. I want her arrested, I said. I want them all exposed. You'll get it, Daria said. But there's one more thing I need. Proof the fire was deliberate. We need the original fire marshal's report. Alec and I exchanged a look. That file had disappeared years ago. Unless I remembered something. Our old housekeeper, Teresa. She'd been at the summer house the night of the fire. Fired the next day. Paid off, according to rumors. But she lived quietly in a farmhouse out near the cliffs. We found her that afternoon. She opened the door and gasped. Leona, I nodded. I need your help. She let us in. Made tea with shaking hands. Then, slowly, she reached under a floorboard in the back pantry. I never trusted them, she said, so I kept this. A charred report. Fire marshal seal still visible, underlined in red. Accelerant found in 2 ignition points, 1 in the basement, 1 beneath the master bedroom. Indicates planned arson. We had it. The final piece. By sunset. Daria had everything she needed, and that night, the story broke. Heiress exposes family empire in shocking betrayal. Founder's widow implicated in arson, cover-up, and multi-million-dollar embezzlement. They arrested my mother at dawn. Andrew never called me again. He'd known he was tied to the money trail. So were 2 other board members. The company collapsed within weeks, and I was free. But freedom is strange. It's quiet. It doesn't celebrate. It just waits. A month later, I stood on the edge of the cliffs where our summer house used to be. Alec came up beside me, warm coffee in his hand. "You know you didn't have to come alone," he said. I did. I pulled the pouch from my pocket, opened it. Inside was the locket. I clicked it open. Inside, a tiny photograph. My father, holding a baby girl, and beneath it, a tiny scrap of folded paper I'd never noticed in my father's handwriting. Her name was Leona. She was always meant to lead. I closed it, tears in my eyes. "I think I'm ready," I said. Alex smiled. "To rebuild?" I turned to him. "No, to start something new, something better." He nodded. "Together?" I smiled back. "Yes."